Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Manchester United News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Jadon Sancho hopes Ten Hag gets sacked as he reportedly waits for partial takeover before making transfer decision. Manchester United forward Jadon Sancho is now waiting to see what happens inside the club after their partial takeover before making a decision on his future, according to journalist Florian Plettenberg. The Englishman is expected to leave the Old Trafford club in the January transfer window, having fallen out with manager Erik Ten Hag. Juventus are keeping tabs on the situation, and a loan deal with an option to buy has been mooted. However, Sancho knows he could get a chance to prove himself at Man United again under a different manager, and it appears he is waiting to see what happens with Ten Hag once Sir Jim Ratcliffe takes over the footballing operations at the club. The Red Devils suffered their sixth Premier League defeat of the 23-24 campaign against Newcastle on Saturday, and they host Chelsea tomorrow. Man United will be dumped out of Europe if they lose to Bayern München in their last Champions League group game later this month, and the pressure is mounting on Ten Hag. They face Liverpool, West Ham United, and Aston Villa after that game, and failure to get the necessary result could force Ratcliffe to show the Dutchman the exit door. While the players have been woeful, the manager will end up bearing the brunt of their dismal campaign if the results do not improve soon, and Sancho knows he will get a clean slate under a new boss. The 23-year-old has not played for Man United since August and will not get on the pitch or near the first team training ground as long as Ten Hag remains in the dugout. He will be wishing the former Ajax manager gets sacked in the coming weeks, as that would give him a chance to remain at the club beyond January. French defender Raphael Varane is another player who could also be hoping Ten Hag loses his job, having lost his place in the starting 11 to Harry Maguire. The Man United boss does not deserve to be sacked, but the result have to change significantly if he wants to hold on to his job. Ratcliffe will not hesitate to make the necessary changes if his team reckons it would get the best out of his current crop of players. Fabrizio Romano provides Lisandro Martinez injury update. Manchester United will not rush Lisandro Martinez's return from injury, according to leading football journalist and CaughtOffside columnist Fabrizio Romano. The Argentine's latest injury setback is not a normal problem. Suffering a metatarsal injury for the second time in 5 months earlier this year, Martinez has been forced to watch from the sidelines, undergoing surgery on his foot. The South American, during a recent interview, admitted he has had to be patient in his recovery. The defender said, "I am in the process of recovery. It's the second time that an injury like this has happened to me, so you have to be patient." And still with no sign of the 2022 World Cup winner on Erik Ten Hag's bench, Romano has provided an update for any fans wondering when they can expect to see the number 6 back in action. He said, "Lisandro Martinez's injury is not a normal problem. It's a big setback for the club, and so Man United staff are being very careful with the player. His recovery is going well, and Lisandro is doing well, but he is not ready yet, and the club won't force anything. They will keep waiting until Martinez feels 100% ready to play football again." Since joining the Red Devils from Ajax 18 months ago, Martinez, who has up to 4.5 years left on his contract, has directly contributed to 2 goals in 51 games in all competitions. Simon Jordan can't believe £36 million man is still a Manchester United player. Anthony Martial is symptomatic of Manchester United's issue, and the Premier League giants should have got right a long time ago. That is the view of typically straight-talking Simon Jordan, and even paid-up members of the Tony Marshall fan club would struggle to disagree with the one-time Crystal Palace chairman. especially after mannequin Martial lasted just 61 minutes at James Park, presumably covering more ground when sauntering off the pitch than he did during an hour of banal nothingness on Tennesside. And as far as Jordan is concerned, the mere sight of Anthony Martial still leading the line in Manchester United's number 9 shirt is a damning indictment of an institution once ruthless and now rudderless, goalless, spiritless, and pointless too on Saturday night at least, he said. Anthony Martial is the sort of player who gets you the sack. Why he is still at the football club is beyond me. He is symptomatic. It's 3.5 years now since Martial plundered 23 goals during the best ever season in United Red alongside Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood, a strike force which actually scored more in 1920 than Liverpool's storied Salah, Firmino, and Mane. Barring once excellent Rashford campaign, none of that aforementioned trio have come close to realizing that undoubted potential, albeit for very different reasons. Martial's contract, at least, expires during the summer of 2024, and with all due respect to one of world football's up and coming leagues, can you think or a more Saudi Pro League sort of player than Anthony Martial? Sky Sports Pundit criticizes Manchester United forwards' unacceptable performance. Jamie Carragher has had his say on Marcus Rashford's performance for Manchester United in their 1-0 defeat to Newcastle. One player in particular struggled more than most, and that was Marcus Rashford. With 30 goals to his name last season, this year was supposed to be the time he kicked on, but the Englishman has just 2 goals to his name. Speaking on Sky Sports, former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher has had his say on Rashford's recent performances for the Red Devils. He said, "It was an acceptable performance for a few reasons. He didn't play midweek, and if there is any mitigating circumstances for someone not being 100% fit, it's playing midweek in Europe. I have been a local player, and it isn't easy, especially when your team is not doing well. When it's not going well, it's your job to fix it, and you have got to drag other people up with you. I'm watching Rashford now, and he reminds me of Martial, and that's the worst possible thing you can probably say about him. A foreign player who comes in, hasn't done the business, and doesn't really care. There is no question that the 26-year-old is struggling at this moment in time, but blaming the forward for all of the team's current problems would be a mistake. The reality is that the whole team looked like a mess on Saturday night, so pinning all of the blame on the Englishman is rather ridiculous. Whether the winger is putting in enough effort or not remains to be seen, but with the huge gaps in the midfield and the defense, Rashford tracking back is hardly going to solve this issue. When the forward scored 30 goals in all competitions last season, he was not pressing as much either. At this moment in time, it seems like Rashford is facing the brunt of the criticism. Sir Jim Ratcliffe to be announced as Manchester United co-owner next week. Manchester United plan to announce that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has secured a 25% stake in the Old Trafford club early next week, according to Sky News. The British billionaire has reached an agreement in principle with the Glazers after months of negotiations with several potential buyers. Ratcliffe will be taking 2 board room seats at Man United through his company Inoyes Sport, but he will not be joining the club's public company board. As reported earlier, the Nice owner will be committing £245 million to the renovation of the infrastructure at Old Trafford and Carrington training bays, while Ratcliffe is spending £1.25 billion on the acquisition of the stakes. The cost of the stock purchase and the other capital for investment means he will be committing about £1.5 billion initially in the early days of his partial ownership of Man United. The $33 a share deal will be structured as a tender offer to acquire 25% of the listed A shares, and the Glazers will also sell 25% of their B shares, which carry greater voting rights as part of the deal. Ratcliffe will be taking charge of the football operations of the club, and Jadon Sancho is one of the players reportedly waiting for his official arrival before deciding on his future, as we mentioned before. The Man United attacker has been linked with an exit ahead of the January transfer window, having fallen out of favour with manager Erik Ten Hag. Major changes are expected after Ratcliffe takes over the footballing side of Man United, which could have an impact on their transfer plans in the winter transfer window. Manchester United faces stiff competition for Ajax midfielder Kenneth Taylor. Manchester United's recruitment over the last decade has left a lot to be desired, with a raft of high-profile names failing to deliver upon their arrival at the club. Erik Ten Hag has been the latest manager to fall foul of the club's inability to perform in the transfer market. The Dutch coach has missed out on a few of his top targets, and the club have overpaid for players that are struggling to adapt to life at Old Trafford. After a strong first season in charge, United are now struggling under Ten Hag's tutelage, and the majority of his signings are looking well off place. Casemiro's fitness issues and alarming drop in form have left the manager looking for a long-term replacement in his defensive midfield role. As reported by Team Talk, highly rated Ajax midfielder Kenneth Taylor has been linked with a move to the club as the solution to United's struggles with moving the balls through the lines. The 21-year-old has emerged as the latest player of the famous production line at Ajax and has been largely excellent since his debut in the winter of 2020. Very much in the mold of long-standing United target Frankie de Jong, the classy Taylor has the ability to play forward under pressure as well as protect the back four. United have already registered their interest in the youngster, but his recent performances have caught the eye of multiple of other Premier League clubs. Liverpool and Manchester City are also long-standing admirers of the player, but Tottenham, Aston Villa, Newcastle and Brighton have recently joined the list of potential suitors. The Dutchman looks to have his pick of clubs, and United will be hoping Erik Ten Hag's connection to Taylor's current employers could help sway the deal in their favour. There has been no official bid placed by United thus far, but it's clear Ten Hag will want his board to be active in January to give him the best chance of a strong end to the season. United continue their tricky-looking festive fixture list with the visit of Chelsea. Fabrizio Romano claims Man United Newcastle-linked Bundesliga star could move in 2024. Bayer Leverkusen defender Jonathan Tah has been linked with a move away from the club in recent months. The 27-year-old has established himself as a key player for the German club, and his performances have caught the attention of a number of Premier League clubs. Recently, we covered reports that Manchester United and Newcastle are keen on signing the German international defender. Now, CaughtOffside columnist Fabrizio Romano has informed that the defender could be on the move in 2024. There is no shortage of interest in the German defender, and he could prove to be a quality acquisition for a number of clubs. Romano said, "I'd keep an eye on Premier League clubs for Jonathan Tah. He is under contract until 2025 at Bayer, and sources tell me he could leave in 2024. He is doing great. I can't share info on Press's club, but there is interest from the Premier League." Manchester United could certainly use someone like him at the back. The likes of Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire have been linked with exit, and Tah would be a quality acquisition. He would add defensive stability and physicality to the side. He has the attributes to succeed in English football as well. The defender is at the peak of his career, and he will want to test himself at the highest level. The opportunity to showcase abilities in English football can be quite tempting. Similarly, Newcastle need to bring in a quality partner for Sven Botman, and the 27-year-old German certainly fits the profile. Both clubs have the financial resources to get the deal done, and it remains to be seen whether they decide to make a move for him in January. Man United want 23-year-old League One star, €100 million rated ace on their radar as well. Manchester United remain keen on improving their defensive unit during the January transfer window, and the French international defender Jean-Claire Todibo is an option for them. According to journalist Florian Plettenberg, the 23-year-old Frenchman is a target for Manchester United in January, and they will look to add to their defense further at the end of the season. The Red Devils are expected to sign Todibo in the coming weeks and then pursue the Benfica defender Antonio Silva, who is a top target for the summer transfer window. Both Todibo and Silva could prove to be quality acquisitions for the Red Devils. Players like Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire have been linked with moves away from the club, and Manchester United will have to bring in a quality replacement. Todibo has proven himself in the French league with Nice, and he has the ability to succeed in the Premier League as well. He wants to establish himself as a regular starter for the national team as well, and impressive performance in the Premier League will certainly boost his chances. Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and the opportunity to join them can be quite attractive for most players. As we wrap up today's Manchester United news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.